Flag salute.
Flag salute by Mr. O'Brien.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Amendola?
I'm here.
Ms. Amendola?
Here.
Mr. Crown?
Here.
Mr. Phillips?
Here.
Mr. O'Brien?
Here.
Mayor Bloom?
Here.
Manager Scott? Here. Judge Keselowski?
Here.
And Mr. Volpe?
Here.
And Engineer Minsterman?
Here.
I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the bill list dated October 26, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes from October 12, 2015.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Moved and second, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now we'll go into citizens' comments, which I didn't even grab the sheet. Mary, did you grab the sheet? There's no one signed up for citizens' comments. So then we'll go on then to, I'm sorry?
Yeah, could I actually make a comment? Sorry, I didn't.
Is it on the agenda?
If it's about leaf and alternate parking, then no, I don't see it.
Then we'll just ask you to wait until the end of the meeting
Okay.
for those citizens' comments. So the citizens' comments now are anything regarding the agenda items.
Oh, okay.
Okay, moving forward then, we'll acknowledge receipt of the written reports, the treasurer's report, the financial report, the Act 511 and trash collection reports, the property tax collection report, the police report, the EMS report, the ordinance officer's report, the building inspection report, and the public works report. And now we'll move on to the mayor's report.
Just going to start out reporting that reminder that Halloween will be this Saturday evening, October 31st, from 6 to 8 p.m. Again, we will ask motorists, parents, to make sure that the motorists are aware that the kids will be running the street, and the parents to make sure that the kids have a visible costume, and the parental support as far as we don't want kids running in the middle of the block, cutting out between parked cars to cross street. So we just ask that the parents and the motorists just stay aware of that situation this week. This report that yesterday there was a robbery at Family Dollar. The actor presented a firearm to the clerk at the store, got away with an undetermined amount of money, actually apologized to the clerk for robbing the store, and left and disappeared behind the store towards Thomas Street. I have a report that you received that for September of 2015, that there's numerous arrests were made for DUI, drug possession, retail theft, assault, disorderly conduct, burglary, and one underage drinking. Our officers were shorthanded right now, actually by 2 officers, and the guys are doing a stand-up job, performing a lot of overtime, to make sure that the streets are safe. And that's all I have.
Thank you. We'll move on then to the engineer's report.
Okay, thank you, Madam President.
First off, I have a really long report tonight, so this will take a while, but I'm just kidding. The,
2 minutes.
come on. Okay, general consent order. You've heard us talk about the new Phase 1 consent order that's being issued. That final draft has been issued, and it's just recently, we'll be reviewing it as well as the solicitor and manager and coming back to you in one of the future meetings to talk about signing that order and what that means. It doesn't appear to be a large burden, but just let you know about that. That's gone back and forth with the solicitors and the engineers in negotiating with DEP, and I think the order now is ready to go. But we'll have some advice for you at future meetings for that. As far as the televising contracts, Roto-Rooter has completed the CCTV work in the borough, and they should be working on their punch list items next week, so that'll be wrapping up. Defect repairs, manhole-to-manhole lining is complete, and but we're still waiting for them to come in to do the spot liners. Those are just the 6-split section liners. There's no excavation related to those. That's all done in situ within the pipe. So we're waiting to hear from the contractor when they'll come in to do that. Noble Avenue street opening. The water company has completed all the handicap ramps. That work's done, the sidewalk work, and now they are telling us that they're coming back for final milling and paving during the week of November 2nd. So that's coming up. They are trying and they want to get the project done and paved this year. So concrete plant or asphalt plants are open till at least November 15th, and there are temperature requirements for pavement, but they're normally not too tough to meet during these milder, colder seasons. So we should be okay there. The road program, all the streets on the 2015 road program have been milled and paved. There's a minor drainage issue on Orchard Way that we'll be working with Public Works and the contractor to get fixed. Some ponding water there. We expect to get a payment application from the contractor for all of their work, as well as their maintenance bond, so we can close out that contract. The splash pad design, the construction began the week of the 14th as planned. The contractor is on schedule, so there doesn't appear to be any problems there. There was a proposed change to order that I believe is on the agenda tonight. For your consideration. It's approximately $9,400, and that relates to some unknown foundations that were discovered during the excavation to install the pole. Apparently those were not removed for the prior pole that was in that area. It was assumed that they were not, so the contractor encountered them and asked for a change. So we negotiated that down. I think he wanted about $13,000 or $14,000. We were able to get it down to about $9,000. To remove all that concrete, have it disposed, and didn't delay the schedule for the contract. So that's all in order. There was a payment application, number 1, that was submitted for about $47,000 for a progress payment on the work that he's done so far. And lastly, the Lincoln Road demolition. The specifications in the bidding are all completed. There seems to be a little bit of a hold-up from Char West. It's been about 3 weeks now that we're waiting to hear back from them. I'm not sure. What they try to do is gather several demolition projects, bid them all together to get a better price. So they must be having problems with other communities submitting their data, their information.
We just got a fax today that's due November 15th.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay,
to the bids and specs,
great.
the specifications, and there's some requirements like no Davis-Bacon wages are required and things like that, but we just got the fax today.
Oh, that's good. So that sounds like that'll be moving ahead. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Moving on then to the solicitor's report.
The first 2 properties on here, 25 Sycamore and 78 Fountain, are potentially hazardous structures. We're moving forward to pursue demolition of those properties, but both of them, in both instances, we've had the owners file responses to our complaints. So in the first case with 25 Sycamore, I talked about this at the last meeting. The owners want to undertake the demolition proceedings themselves to try to salvage the property and use it for some other purpose. So as long as there's forward progress and the owners are continuing to move forward to demo the property, I think everybody agreed that was agreeable and we weren't going to stand in their way. So we're going to give them some time to obtain the necessary permits, and my understanding is they're seeking bids at this point. And if there's ongoing progress, everything's fine. To the extent that they don't continue to progress, we will step in and take over and demo the property, or seek to have an order to demo the property.
How much time are you giving them?
6 months.
6 months?
We need to wait, we need to get approval from the SHARCOG for funds, and the window for that application is, November? I think it's this month, mid of this month, so we're gonna miss it, because they stepped up and decided to come in. We're gonna miss that this year, so there's really nothing we can do anyway at this time. We'll wait until next year, and then if there's no movement in 6 months, we'll go ahead and get a judgment and then move forward. On 78 Fountain, we received an answer to a complaint that we filed, so the owners have obviously is objecting to our characterization of the property as a hazardous structure, so we'll have to have a hearing on that one and see where that goes. 96 Noble, we talked about that one last week, or last meeting as well. We have obtained an order from the court to amend the caption of the complaint to name the heirs of the estate of Mr. Calabrese, and we're going to do that and continue to proceed on that property to seek to have an order that it's a hazardous structure and demo it. With regard to the ordinance permitting chickens, we're working on that, and we're going to amend the ordinance, or draft and prepare an ordinance to amend the zoning code to permit chickens in the R1 zoning district. So we're working on drafting that. We'll have a draft for you sometime soon. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any discussion? No discussion. Moving on then to our business agenda, I will entertain a motion to approve payment application number 2 and final to A. Felino Construction in the amount of $111,000 for $111,498.30 for the Clearview Avenue Road reconstruction project.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to authorize, approve the change order number 1 as recommended by the engineer in the amount of $9,398.82 for the Crafton Splash Pool project to Stone Ridge Incorporated.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve payment application number 1 to Stone Ridge Incorporated in the amount of $47,593.86, including change order number 1 for the Crafton Splash Pool project.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on then to administration. Are you good? Tom? Are you good?
I'm tired of this.
Okay.
We're interrupted.
I'll entertain a motion to authorize the Borough of Crafton to enter into the one-time early retirement incentive agreement with qualified non-uniform employees in accordance with ordinance number 1632.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We have an announcement regarding the zoning hearing board. There's a 3-year term available from now until 2018. We're looking for for one regular, one alternate, correct? Anyone interested should submit a letter of interest to the Borough Manager's Office by December 1st, 2015. Is this me or you to talk about this?
Well, we received like 12 applications for Public Works, and I'd like to go ahead and schedule those, and I'd like to know when council would like to schedule the interviews for.
We're gonna schedule oral interviews
Right.
with qualified candidates. Are we doing group?
The whole council want to do it? You tell me what you want to do. You want to do it before the next council meeting, which would be the 9th? Because November 2nd is our budget meeting, so, I mean, every Monday is taken.
Can you whittle the list down to 3 or 4 for council?
I would be
How many
absolutely
did you
happy
say
to.
you have?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
How many go from
Yeah, if you want to, and then maybe Rob can put his 2 cents worth in. We can, what's that?
That'd be nice for the, people to have an input on it.
Oh, more than 2 cents.
It's a penny for your thought.
Okay.
See if you got any of Woodward and Smith.
Oh.
You're checking out the
Okay, then we'll whittle it down and maybe schedule them for November 9th. Would that be okay? Okay, we'll do it before.
Okay. And the consent order?
Rick already.
Oh, that's right, we did.
He did provide it. We have a 3 Rivers Well Weather meeting. We received the consent order last week. And, I certainly would encourage Crafton to be the first community to sign it and submit it, So I do have a 3 Rivers Well Weather meeting on November 12th, which we will discuss it a little bit further. And it's not due until December 15th. So we have plenty of time. And I'd like to, make sure that all the, cracks are ironed out and all that other stuff, so we definitely don't want to be the first community to submit it.
Okay. Moving on to finance then. I just want to make note that our next budget meeting will be Monday, November 2nd, 2015 at 6:30, and it will be held here in this room, correct?
That's correct.
Moving on then to Parks and Recreation. We still have 1 vacancy on the Recreation Board. Anyone interested should submit a letter of interest to the Borough Manager's Office. Now we can move on to citizens' comments that are not related to the agenda.
Okay. Can I stand up? Hi, my name is Philip Lavasser. I live at 401 Clearview Avenue. I just wanted to bring to council's attention and possibly the police department. There are some cars that don't move on Clearview Avenue, and it's becoming a problem. As you know, we fought to protect the trees in front of our property, and it's becoming a problem because these vehicles won't move, and it's becoming a problem for our borough to come up with the leaf vacuum, and I can't really maintain between the sidewalk and the vehicles, and when I do, I get accosted by the people that own the vehicles, so I've stopped trying to mow and weed whack and do those things because they won't move their vehicles, and now they're just collecting more vehicles. So I was curious if we could have the borough investigate the vehicles and at least ask them to move them occasionally so we can allow the leaf vacuum to do its seasonal work. So that's why I asked. Thank you.
Thank you.
The ordinance for vehicle movement is 14 days. Now, if they're there longer than 14 days, then you make a police report, and they'll notify the owner to have the vehicle moved. But they can't take your word for it. So, they have to mark the vehicle, note the vehicle, and then the clock starts.
So that's not moved at all,
Right,
no matter what time of day it is?
right.
Not moved.
Mayor, we get a problem area like that where the cars parked.
I'm sorry?
There's a problem area where there's cars parked and you can't access it, service those people for leaf removal. We could paper post it, give notification, we're gonna be coming in here 24 hours on Wednesday at 6 a.m., no parking 6 a.m. to 2 a.m., 2 p.m. when we know when service is.
Okay.
We can
Well,
paper
you-
post a notification.
Then, if you're gonna, use that option, then would you notify the chief?
I'd work right with the chief, absolutely.
Okay.
Sure, I'd have to get the paper posting from him, we'd go post and notify him that we're doing it, so he could enforce it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, and thank you for the time. My name is Kenny Balch. I own the property on 225 Ewing Avenue.
What did you say your last name was? I'm sorry.
Balch, B-A-L-C-H.
Okay, thank you.
I bought this property. I have a copy of the official survey plan that was done in the mid-'70s. Basically, I came into a can of worms, and I'm having the darndest time getting an occupancy permit for this property, and I'd just like some guidance from the city council as to where to turn and who to. Dan Felton, the building inspector, I posed a couple of different options, which he said no to a lot of the options. He says he did grant a temporary 60-day occupancy permit. He wrote an addendum on that occupancy permit that nobody can occupy the property until we take care of legal issues. And here lies the problem. Dan says because Crafton is strapped for cash, they don't want to contact the solicitor, Mr. Ayub III. It's $350 an hour, so they did not want to really, their agenda's full. So we're not, they have to deal with the legal issue, but they're unwilling to, they're not able to contact the solicitor. So we're kind of at ground zero, and I don't know if I have to require a zoning board meeting. What happens is we have a long kennel, and I'll be happy to leave this with the city council. It just shows, it's the old Crafton kennels. And they built a long kennel over their existing property line. Well, 20 years later, she sold the surrounding properties, and on a side issue ended up landlocking herself, but unbeknownst to her, she didn't know, she thought she retained the whole long kennel, but in fact the property line goes almost right through the middle of the kennel. So
I'm actually going to let our solicitor
Please.
address you.
I don't know if you were finished with your...
yeah, please interject. I can continue if I need to, but
And we've spoke before, you've contacted my office, and...
I'm sorry, your name, sir, is?
My name is Matt Dolphy.
Oh, Mr. Dolph, okay, I did talk to you. You were very kind, and yes, okay. So you're familiar, Mr. Dolphy is familiar with this. I appreciate his time. He's very generous earlier.
I don't think that, you know, council's role is not to provide advice. I think you need to, if you're going to pursue this, you need to hire an attorney and submit a, you know, you also have the option to seek a private action against the adjacent homeowner. So I think you need to seek that as a private matter. It's not a public issue. And I don't think there's anything really that council can do to resolve this problem for you. It's a property that you purchased where there's a building on your property, and you need to deal with that.
Understood. I think my complaint was that my attorney did contact, as Mr. Dolphy knows this, did contact Mr. Ayub III's office, where Mr. Dolphy works, and he didn't respond to my attorney. And 1 month went by, and I telephoned Mr. Ayub III's office, and Mr. Dolphy picked up the phone, and that's how we were able to talk. So I have engaged counsel, I have, you know, retained an attorney, but I don't know, The building inspector, Mr. Feldman, thought that Mr. Ayub's office would either help to give us some options, some legal options as far as getting the building permit. Now, if that's gonna, as Mr. Dolphy said, entail taking Ms. Ardinger, the present owner, to court. I was hoping there would be some other ways, maybe, again, the zoning board, maybe a resurvey and redraw the property lines.
We can't tell you what to do. That's, you know, and council can't tell you what to do either. You have to use your lawyer, present some kind of a motion or a hearing, or make some application through your lawyer.
Okay,
That's
so
what you need to do.
okay, I was hoping that I could get okay, if you do this, then we'll grant an occupancy permit. Or if you do this action, then we'll grant run through different scenarios.
You gotta get rid of the building. The building is your problem. You can't get the permit with the building on your property. It violates the ordinance.
Okay, but but again, like you said, there's other ways around it, like subdividing. If I subdivide the property and
If you want to subdivide your property, that's really up to you. You have to decide how you want to
And
proceed with that. We can't tell you what to do. You can do things and then submit it and see if it's approved.
And then at that time, it's approved, so we cross that bridge when we get to it. So go ahead and submit all the plans I was hoping to get. Okay, if we can, you know, redraw the lines.
Your attorney really should be the one giving you that legal advice. That's why you're paying him
Yes.
as your attorney. So.
Yes,
We're reactive,
Unfortunately.
sorry.
No, you're good.
okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, we'll take that course and, yeah, see where it goes. So, again, I know it's not advice, but, your advice would be
To reach out to your
set
attorney.
up a zoning board meeting, go ahead and file the plans and submit it to the zoning board?
Our advice would be to contact your attorney and seek the advice of your attorney.
Yeah, but when he reaches out to the boroughs, which is, then there's no response, so I
We
guess.
can't give him that advice. If he has a motion or he wants to file something
Yeah,
legally,
okay, yes.
then we will react. But we cannot,
Understood.
Can't say if you
We're
do
not
this,
gonna
we'll
fight
do
it.
Understood,
this.
that
If you wanna
that was
do
the
that,
gist
we'll
of
do
my
that.
attorney's letter to
Right.
them, is to discuss options, so that's not,
No,
that's
you
not
have
an
to
option.
pick an action
Okay.
and move forward with
I appreciate you folks' time.
it. Thank you. And there are no other
motion to adjourn.
citizens' comments? I'll entertain then a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
I vote.
Thank you.
Bye, Fred. I'm gonna hang up because my battery's not charging.
What?